We are live. Back to the iPod, which is what I used to use for my live streams, and I'm doing it again. So it's Heather Boyd Wire at Wire Lady TV. Usually we do these live streams on the Wednesday. Today we're doing them on a Tuesday because I'm going to be out of town tomorrow. So I thought I'll do the live stream tonight. I don't like to miss a week. I might have to miss next week for Halloween week. I'll let you guys know when I'm going to be live next week. And I'm just going to open up my computer so I could see any. Oh, I have to turn off the sound or I'm going to be echoing. And here's Rebecca, first one on. Hey, Rebecca, how are you? I haven't talked to you for a long time. Great to see you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get right into it. I had a special request from a viewer to do some petal tassels. So I thought that was a really cool idea. And I actually didn't even know what they were. So I Google searched petal tassels and I found some cool ideas. And Sharon's hopping on. Hey, Sharon. Hey there, my son is supposed to call me, so oh, you might not be on so long. That's okay, Sharon. So just as long as you could stay is great, and then you can always watch the replay. So let me go ahead, right ahead and flip the screen while you guys are on. And so here you can see my workspace. I'm just going to make sure it's nicely centered that that you guys can see everything that I'm doing. So there we go. So here's all my supplies. And I'll just make sure that I keep sort of centered in here. And I'm doing these petal tassels, and the woman that requested them actually asked me if I could do some from scratch and then also use these little fabric flowers. So that's what I'm going to do. I have a few little things that I'm going to work with. So I have these ready-made flowers just that you get out at the dollar store. I have some smaller ones like that. And Rebecca says, I moved to my apartment and just unpacking. Oh, you're busy then. And Joanna's here and says, awesome. That's great. Great for that you came on. And you guys are probably wondering, why is there a saxophone here? So this is here because I kind of like this idea of this little spiral tube thing that I might use for instead of some of the end caps, because I don't have a lot of end caps. So this is an old design that I did for the saxophone. So I might use that. And then I have a variety of these end caps and then a couple of other things that are actually just a bead with like a tube bead with a ball bead. And I thought maybe I could do something like that to do like an end cap with that. So we're just going to play around with these. I also have a needle and thread because I need to gather the fabric at some point, and then we're going to go from there. So we have a lot of people hopping on. Clarice is here. Awesome. And TN Herb Farmer. Oh, cool. From South Carolina Beach. Wow, that's awesome. And Janine is here. Everybody's hopping on. Thanks, guys. So as always, if I get distracted, you guys just chat in the chat box. That would be wonderful. If you're wondering what these are just like little kind of flower finding things, and I got them in my bead store, so I'm not exactly sure their purpose, but I thought they were kind of cool that we might be able to work with those. So let's put all this stuff sort of at the side. And what I'm going to do is just start by doing the idea of making a petal from scratch. So what I'm going to do is use this little flower that I pulled off the plastic flower. I'm going to use this as a template, and I'm going to just trace this. So I do have a bit of a pattern. Now, I did see a tutorial for one of these online, and basically what they did, I'm going to just trace it a little bit larger than this. I think it's going to be better if it's a little larger. So one tutorial I did see online, she actually just got like the end of a pill bottle or something, or I guess if it was smaller than a pill bottle, because it has to be for earrings, and she just traced a bunch of circles. So maybe what I'll do is I'll link up that video below, the one that I just glanced through for a little inspiration. So, but you could just trace one of these petals if you pull it off a dollar store petal, and then I'm going to just do a little dot in the middle so I know where the center is. And that's the idea. But what I had seen in a tutorial, she just like traced like a bunch of circles like that. So that's another possibility to do it, is just trace a bunch of circles. And then what we're going to do is cut out the template. So we'll just give it a little cut around. And you guys can let me know if you're doing anything for Halloween this year. We used to actually give out jewelry, little jewelry samples and old jewelry stock to the kids in the neighborhood. And we were quite notorious for it. For many years we did that. And then the year I traveled to Italy one year for Halloween, and then since that, we haven't really done much for Halloween. I get now that Mimi's older, we don't really celebrate it so much. So we're actually going downtown for a YouTube kind of festival thing, a little event. So that's going to be fun. So here's the template for the flower. And then what you can do is just get fabric. I thought I have two different kinds of fabric. I have like a thicker fabric and I have kind of a flowy fabric like this. So I'm thinking I might try it with the flowy fabric to see how it looks. And Sharon said, I got my earrings today. Yay, that's awesome, Sharon. Yeah. So Sharon, I sent her some earrings. They were the treble clef and the bass clef. So one of the perks of being on my Patreon. So that was like a little bonus. So yeah, I'm happy you got them. That's great. So let's go ahead and cut these out. We could maybe cut out two at once because you need two of these flowers to make one pair of earrings. Now, I could have used the other fabric, but I think it might have been a little bit too thick. So I'm going to try this one. And then if this is too thin, I can always go ahead and use a different one. But the idea is just to cut out two flowers in this kind of shape like this. And you probably could make them with separate petals, but I think that it would be really finicky to do this. The idea is you want it to be not too complicated. So I've just done it like that. Now, if you want more definition in the flowers, like if you want to do these more at a point, you can go ahead and maybe just trim them a little bit so the little intersection is a little more pointy. So that's just a little kind of detail. It actually might be easier to do them one at a time, but let me just go ahead and do them two at a time because they ended up being a little bit not too defined. So if we just cut out these little triangles here, it's going to make a more little defined petals like that. So we're just going to end. They're definitely not perfect, but once they're stacked on top of each other, they're going to be okay. So we'll just go ahead like that. So what we have is two little petals like that. And like I said, you could just go ahead and take the petals from the flowers and make jewelry with that. That's no problem too. So what I'm going to do is stack them up together, but stagger them a little bit. So they're not lined up. They're like a little bit spread apart a little bit. And then I don't know if you guys sew, but we're going to do like a little gathering stitch. So basically towards the middle, but like a good maybe centimeter or a quarter inch, we're going to just stitch a little circle here. Okay, and this is it serves twofold. It holds the two pieces together, but also you're going to see it's going to kind of gather them up a little bit. So let's just go ahead and gather them up like that. I used to do a lot of sewing when I was a kid, so it's really I did a lot of like basic sewing with gathering stitches and stuff. So what we're going to do, and I'm wondering if maybe I should even go ahead and stick the head pin in there first. I had two ideas. One was to stick like a little bead in there so it holds in place, and then the other was just to stick the head pin in. So let's go ahead and try that. So if we center the head pin and just stick it in here, hopefully the fabric has a loose enough weave that we can get it through. Yeah, so it went through like that. And if we put it through like that, you see there's the head pin that's stuck through and the gathering stitches. So if we go ahead and gather these stitches, see what I did? If I pulled the string and it made a cool little kind of flower actually. It looks kind of cool. I like that. I like that a lot. And I'm seeing now that this could have been even bigger. I could have made this even bigger because it's still pretty small, but it's good for a small earring. So, and then like you do in any sewing project, you just stitch back and forth on itself so you don't lose your thread. And then we're going to just clip this off here. Wow, you guys are chatting and I'm missing all of this. See, Joanna's on board. My bestie just bought her house, so Halloween is housewarming party. That sounds really fun. That's awesome. So here's the little flower. And so now what we want to do is find the end cap. So this is the part where we experiment. few possibilities for end caps. These ones here would do. This is one, a commercial head cap. So let's just see how they look. If we put this on here, I'll just show you guys. So this is how that one would look like that. It's a little bit square-ish. So let's take that one off. And then the other possibility would be to do one that looks more like a spring, but it's a little bit boring. It's okay. It's okay, the spring. So the spring looks like that. And then if you want to do sort of a makeshift cap, I have these beads. So I was thinking just to do like a small tubular bead like this. If we put the tubular bead on here, kind of like that, and then you put a round bead on top. Let me see where I put the round bead. I think this one might be a little big. And then put a round bead on top. And it looks a little bit, little like an angel or something. But let me see where I put my other round bead. I think it rolled away. Let me just see. I think it might have rolled away. I had another little round bead that would have been good. So this is kind of an interesting idea. The other idea I had, which was really funny, was I thought about using a metal pen, like the end of a pen. You know, sometimes they have like little metal ends on them. So that was another one of my ideas. But this is way too huge. But if you had a big petal, you could use the end of a pen as sort of a bead cap. But that's not going to work for this one, I don't think. So, oh, here's my littler beads. So if we take this one off and we put that one on there. So there we go. And here, okay, so white. So we have more people hopping on. That's awesome. Hey guys. So this one is it's kind of funny looking. I'm not sure. Which one do you guys like? So I have that one. And so that's like a makeshift bead cap. And then we have, what's this one? This one is more like kind of a bead cap thing. So this is another idea to put it on here. But the idea is, yeah, that one's way too big. So let's just go for maybe this one. This one was smaller. So like you see, I'm just kind of winging it with all these findings that I have, but let's just go ahead and use this one. It's a little squared. This one you could pinch it in a little bit like that. Okay. And then we have, this is actually really pretty. I'm really surprised. So it's like a little flower. And then if you wanted a little more fancy, we could put a bead